So the other day when I was shooting makeup lessons and recap lessons for lesson 2, we somehow, Marco and I, missed the adding a verbal cue portion of the lesson. And I'm actually kind of glad, because it means I can double back and spend a little bit of time with it without the pressure of I've got the whole series to video. So most of the people who are taking our basic clicker class have adolescent or young dogs. They also often have dogs that are new to them. And so that's different than having an 8-year-old dog, right? Who you know each other back and forth and, inside and outside. You know what you're likely to do and not likely to do, how your dog's willing to respond in any given situation. But when we have adolescent and young or new dogs, sometimes they just simply cannot comply with what we're asking them to do. An example would be if Marco and I were out front and a neighbor was walking by with 3 dogs, he's going to wag his tail and bark at them. He just is. And so even though it's embarrassing, it's embarrassing. So I'm going to be likely to ask for a sit or a down, and he just might not be able to do that in that moment because, Mom, there are new dogs, and I need to talk to them and see them and tell them I'm here or they'll miss me. So as humans, we've had this experience too, right? Like either you have kids and they've learned some new skill and they can do it a gajillion times in your house, and then your parents come over and you go, hey, Johnny, show him how you do your handstand, and Johnny just can't, right? All of a sudden, the pressure of the situation makes it such that Johnny cannot do the skill that you're asking for, or that's been done to us, right? When we were kids, they were like, here, play Little Lamb. Mary Had a Little Lamb on the piano, and suddenly we're all elbows. So the same is true with our dogs. So an easy thing you can do to help them and help you and to prevent poisoning a cue, and what poisoning a cue is when you cue a behavior and then for whatever reason the dog doesn't comply. The dog doesn't offer the behavior you asked for. So then, and I watched this yesterday with a really sweet lady. She cued her puppy to sit 9 times. The puppy sat the 9th. So 8 times sit meant wag your tail and smile at Mom while standing. Well, which one was she more likely to learn? The 1 sit or the 8 wag your tail and stand up and look cute to Mom? Well, that one, right? So the same is true with our kiddos too. So, hi, you're very charming. So I'm going to wait until Marco offers a behavior. I'm going to toss a piece of food to get him to move. And I'm going to see, can he offer a behavior? You tricked me on that last time. There we go. So he offered a down. Hopefully you can see it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to warm him up by clicking and rewarding that down probably 4 times. I'm not even going to use a hand signal with it. I'm just going to wait until he offers the behavior, because he's telling me what he's comfortable working with at this point. That's lovely. Now these sits are not, or these downs are not perfect. Sometimes he's on a hip, sometimes he's not. But that's okay. Lie down. So now I'm just going to slide the verbal cue in just before he does the behavior. Lie down. I just beamed him in the head with food. Lie down. And tossing the food away helps because it gets them up and moving. Lie down. Of course, at class, it went this way. I tricked you. At class, you're going to have your dog on a leash, of course, and you're going to have to make sure you're not tossing food that sets them up to car crash with another dog. Okay, so now let's see if he can do the SIT for me. Marco defaults to down, so he's far more likely to offer that. So I'm actually going to give him the hand signal for sit to just help him. to know what we're working on. So there's number 3, here's number 4. And now I'm going to slide the word in just before we do it. Sit. And if he offers the behavior, that's great, right? I don't have to do anything else except click and reward. Sit. And he has a tendency to slide into that down, so I want to catch him. Sit. And give him the hand signal he knows if he needs help. Are you itchy? You have an itch? Oh my goodness, we're taking a break itching. So he can take a break, it's okay. So what I want to do is make sure that as much as possible there's error-free learning, that the dog is not confused at all. Are you ready? Can you sit? And my timing there was bad. I gave the verbal cue and the hand signal at the same time. You want it to be separate. Sit, and then the hand signal, and then he does it in click and reward. For stand, and this is a new one for him. It's probably a new one for your dogs too. So I'm still luring. So I'm just going to lure it 4 times. You're going to do it from down. Would you stop being rude with my hand, please? Sit. Good. We apparently are starving to death in the Spring household. Good. So I'm going to lure it 4 times. Good puppy. Now I'm going to cue the sit. I'm going to do the hand signal. Okay, so he has it as a hand signal. Sit. Oh, that was the wrong one. I gave you the wrong cue. I'm the worst mommy ever. Ready? You ready? Stand. Good job. Stand. And again, like, my timing's not great, so make sure you don't do it the way I do it. I must be nervous because of the camera. What are you doing? Stand. And the goal is that all he does is straighten those legs. So that's it. So this week, for adding a verbal cue, each session, it doesn't have to be any longer than this, but each session, get the behavior going a few times, then start adding the verbal cue. And if you feel like, oh, he forgot what I was asking him to do, and you feel like you need to cue the behavior again, then instead of doing that, use your hand signal to help the dog, because likely your hand signals are actually stronger than your verbal cues. So there is the beginning of your attaching a verbal cue to a behavior for week 2 of the basic class. Thanks. See you soon.